Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's that time again. It's surprising to believe that it's already Married at First Sight season 15. So in this episode I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight season 15 episode 1. Oh God. Um, if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos. It's your girl Valerie. Um, I still can't believe that we're already on season 15. It seems like just a few weeks ago we finished season 14. That was a train wreck on its own. And surprisingly, normally at the start of the season, I'm always able to sort of pick a couple of people that I'll say, oh, I can see a future for these two. And in this season, I'm a bit iffy because I thought Alexis and Justin had the possibility of making it, the long distance. But then I've seen a couple of comments on sort of online about Justin, and I'm a bit concerned. And I hope, it's just people just catfishing and it's not real. But I think I'll still say if the rumors are false, then they possibly have a possibility of making it because of their reaction when they first saw each other. So I'll put in my predictions for the season and then I'll review as I normally do. Um, Alexis and Justin, I'm 50-50. There is a possibility they could make it. There is a possibility they won't make it. Um, I think the reason why I say there is a possibility is because they both seem to have had failed attempts at getting married. So I think if they can sort of put in the work and because they're already married, I think they might want to make more of an effort to make sure that it succeeds. So I'll give them 50-50. Lindy and Miguel. I know Miguel has his thing of, his sci his make believe stuff and whatever, but he seems to have a stable sort of job. And I think even though Lindy is a bit all over the place, um, I think don't be my first pick for possibly if they're going to put in the work. If they don't derail like Mark and Lindsay last season, they could possibly make it. Stasia and Nate. Stasia and Nate. On a good season, I would say no. But Stasia and Nate, I think, are going to shock us and they're going to actually be the Woody and the Manny of the season in the sense that everybody thought Woody wasn't ready for marriage and the way he behaved at his bachelor party, even Olajuwon, the way he behaved at his bachelor party, nobody thought they would make it. But they are still happily married to some extent. Well, they are still happily married. So Stasia and Nate, I think, will be my number one, followed by Miguel and Lende. And then Morgan and Ben. Morgan and Ben, I really want them to make it, is what I'm going to say. Morgan and Ben, I really want them to make it. I'm really hoping that they make it. I really hope they will, because they have the ingredients to sort of make it. And I really hope they make it. And they are my number three. Christine and Mitch, nah. I don't see them making it. I could be wrong, but Kristen and Mitch are my sort of Kristen seems too Lindsayist in the sense that she seems to just waffle on, and I hope that doesn't turn Mitch off because Mitch seems to be the quieter Mark type, and we saw how that exploded last season. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Those are my predictions. So Mitch and Lynn and Christine for me are a no for now. Ben and Morgan are a yes. Nate and Stasia, yes. Miguel and Lindy, yes. Um, Justin and Alexis are a possible yes and no in the sense that if the rumors about him are true, then I don't see Alexis staying. But the yes is because he meets the criteria for what she said. What was not number one priority for her, which was height. So he does meet that criteria. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, we got to meet everyone in this episode, so I'll talk about them briefly and then we'll see how that goes. Um, Alexis says she's been proposed to 3 times and she's turned all proposals down because she had a different view of marriage. Um, whereas Justin said he was engaged to someone, but they broke it off because of he didn't feel that she met the criteria of what he wanted. So it's going to be interesting to see their perceptions of marriage sort of gel and come together and see how that will play out. I know Justin's brother is not was not on board with the idea of Justin going through the process of marriage at first sight. He's not the first family member to be sort of hesitant about the process. We know Jeffrey's mom was hesitant about that. We've had a couple of parents along the way, and some of them have turned out to be exactly what the person needed because, as I said, Jeffrey and Shanice have been married for years now. They were married season six, and I think they should be going on year 4 or 5 by now. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. I I was a bit surprised that Alexis, she seems to have more male friends than female friends. And so I'm surprised that none of her friends actually set her up with someone and that she had to go through the marriage at first sight process. And they were saying that, the way she talks, she might need to sort of work on that, which is going to be a problem for Justin because I think Justin easily had his backup as soon as his brother called him out about going through marriage at first sight and thinking that Justin wasn't ready or wouldn't be this process wouldn't be ideal for him. So it's going to be interesting to see how that communication style plays out as they go through their marriage. Um, Her friends seemed to get on. Well, Alex's friends seemed to get on board, and they did walk down the aisle, which was surprising because normally we wouldn't see the weddings until maybe episode 3, and I think because fans have complained and complained and complained, so Married at First Sight has sort of made the adjustment to allow us. Because even at the we saw, the introduction of the participants, we saw them tell their families, we saw them buy their wedding gowns. So we did see Stacia, Nate, um, Alexis, and Justin buy their sort of wedding clothes, and I think with Alexis, I think it's the run. I think she was more of a runaway bride syndrome than anything else because she did sort of have a breakdown before she walked down the aisle, and her mom had to sort of help her, sort of pacify her. And once she got down, she was satisfied with the guy she saw at the end. And even her family members said, "Oh, her friends and family, one of her bridesmaids said, oh, she will like him because of the height." I don't know why she's got this fascination of height. I really don't know. So it will be interesting as the season goes by to see whether they will talk about it and explain why she's really obsessed with this height thing. Justin, on his part, his mum was there at his wedding. His brother, even though he didn't agree with the process, he still turned up to support Justin, and that's I think appeared to calm Justin a bit, just because he was very anxious. Um, I think it was also nice that the guys got to meet before the weddings and sort of know each other. And I think what has happened over the seasons, I think Married at First Sight has realized that participants sort of meeting up is good because they help each other through the process, they support each other through the process, they understand what the other's going through, and whatever problems are there, they help each other, which was good. And then we saw Miguel and Lindy. I think Lindy, for me, she was very. I really don't remember much about her, really, to be honest. I really don't remember much about her. I know because she's a bit confusing me, Lindy and Christy. So Lindy Lindy says she likes. I don't know how she's going to get on board with Miguel and his dorky side and his poems and stuff, because Miguel, we saw him meet up with his friends in his costume, and then he sort of told them he was getting married. Some of the female friends were not on board with that, and it was interesting because this is the same issue that Henry had, whereby we always see this when a guy has female friends, that they're very reluctant for their friends to sort of participate in the process, or they're very reluctant to sort of accept the wife coming in. And it's like, well, if you really liked him that much, why didn't you date him and marry him? So I can understand how Miguel. I think going through this process and watching these participants, you can see why someone has had to come to marriage at first sight in order to find a partner, because you can see what would likely turn people off them and why they would have ended up resorting to this process, because maybe the females were sort of put off by the guys' nerdiness or quirkiness, and so I can understand why someone um, like Miguel would have ended up in the process. I don't know how um, him and sort of Lindy are going to match up. Said for Lindy because she grew up in sort of Seventh Day Adventist, I think she said, and she was very sheltered, and so I think some of that quirkiness and the fact that she really doesn't is just trying to sort of get out of that shell and try and sort of function in the everyday world. I think this is why she herself has found herself on Married at First Sight. And it's going to be interesting to see how, with Miguel's lifestyle and how Lindy grew up, how they're going to mesh that up. It could be a match made in heaven, and it could also be disaster in the sense that because Lindsay's trying to sort of break away from these chains, um, she'll struggle to sort of fit into Miguel's lifestyle, or it could be because she's so used to this or sort of strange way of well, what someone would term a strange way of living, that she could easily fit into Miguel's lifestyle and, his make believe world where he wears costumes and goes and he sits with his friends and they have chats and conversations and, into his poetry and stuff. So, um, I can see them working out. I can see them working out. I wish them all the best, and we'll see how that goes. And then for Stasia and Nate, Stasia and Nate, I think I really hate it when the show makes a big deal about something. Like they made a big deal about Steve not having a job, even though we all knew. I said it weeks in advance that I think Steve has got money, and so now they're going on about Nate. Oh, he's still trying to build his himself with Stasia settled. I think he might not be as financially secure as Stasia, but I think Nate has got money. He says he's a day trader, I think he said, and so he is building his own wealth in that sense. Um, I think that I think with Stasia and Nate, I think Stasia, because of her wealth, that's the reason why she's ended up on Married First Sight, because she wanted to marry someone who didn't know her financial circumstances. And Nate, I think he's ended up on Married at First Sight because of the fact that he seems to have that Olujuan background where he used to, be out in these streets chasing the girls. Even his behavior at the bachelor party was. I'm surprised Married at First Sight showed it, really. It was shocking. It was appalling in the sense that he told one of the strippers to go down, like the way he commanded her, and she did that, and they felt it was appropriate to show that. I was taken aback. His friends as well were sort of his girlfriends were hesitant about him getting married because they were worried about how Stacy is going to take it, how his wife is going to take it. And I can foresee friction between him and his girlfriends because Stacia looks like she's a no nonsense girl. I like the fact that her mom had conversations with her about her upcoming marriage and sort of brought up a postnap. I think, from my understanding, according to Marriage at First Sight, what you go into the marriage with is what you live the marriage with if you do get divorced after 8 weeks. And I can foresee why her mom would talk about a postnap. I hope he signs it. I think what I've noticed is Pastor Carl has a way of setting the guys up in the sense that all the guys that he's matched with the female, especially the black couples, he's always made sure that he's given them someone who will uplift their life in the sense that he's given them someone who's she's got her own career or someone who's got a career and is set in her career and is likely to want a husband who she's going to bring up with her in that sort of successful pathway. And you rarely see the guys, matched with a girl who's all over the place. So I can see Stasia, helping Nate, and I can see Nate after. Before this, I would have said, "Oh God, he's for the streets. He's going to stay for the in the streets." But I can see him settling down. Hoodie settled down. He's now a married man. Olajuwon has settled down. He's now a married man. Um, a lot of guys that have come on the show, we've actually seen them move away from the persona that they had and actually settle down and become, stable in their marriages. So I can foresee him. Although I think there's going to be an issue when the show ends and and Stasia sees how he behaved at his bachelor party. I think that's going to be a big problem for them. So um, I don't know. People always complain that, oh, why do they match these people? They're not compatible. They're not compatible. I think I've seen some of the things, the reasons why. I think the experts cannot pick every single thing on the list, but they try and pick what they think is necessary, and that's what they match you according to. For example, Morgan and Ben, health and fitness is a very important thing to them. Their culture is a very important thing to them, and I think that's why they were matched. I think their only problem is going to be in the sense that they're going to have the Rachel and Jose problem in the sense that Ben likes to save, and Morgan appears to want to enjoy herself and explore and sort of live her life as she's got places she wants to visit, she's got things she wants to do, and I think that's going to be their issue. We didn't see both their parents, even though we heard Ben told his mom when Pastor Carl told him that he was getting married, but we didn't see Morgan's parents. So it's going to be interesting. I think that they have, the right ingredients to be a successful couple. I think the fact that he's frugal doesn't mean he doesn't have money. I think the fact that he's frugal means he's got a lot of money because he says he buys stock and he's got savings and he's got whatever. So I can foresee a future for the two of them if they just find a way to balance each other out, which is the key word. They need to balance each other out. Um, so I know Morgan was going wild at her bachelorette party. I don't know how Ben's mother is going to take that. Where she was dancing on tables and stuff. Maybe it's just overexcitement. And I think people forget on Married at First Sight that the show will always highlight those weak areas, the areas where you sort of show yourself out is what they like. They're still playing Shanice dancing on Jeffy, even though it's been years since she did that. And that's what they like. They're still showing Elizabeth flip tables because she was upset with Jamie, and it's been years since season 8 since they got married, and we're now in season 15, so it's 7 seasons later. We're still seeing that. So I really wish people were very self-conscious of some of the things that they did. And I know Ben's friends were a bit hesitant because of how frugal he is, the whether that would work with him having a wife. I think Morgan doesn't sound as though she's somebody who likes a very lavish lifestyle. So I think he could get away with being frugal. I think it just depends on her understanding and what she's not willing to sort of compromise on, and what he's not willing to compromise on, and how they can merge that as a couple. And then Christine and Mitch. Hmm. Christine and Mitch, it's a bit. I see them getting divorced because I think Christine is too much. It's going to be too much for Mitch because Mitch, even his brother was saying, he's almost 41 and he still hasn't got married. He has been a man whereby he's looked after his nieces and nephews. His goal is to save the world, to remove plastics and stuff. And that, I can see that getting on Christine's nerves. I think the fact that he is very quiet. He's got a small family and he seems to be very family orientated. And the same goes for Kristen. But the problem with Kristen is she told her friends she's getting married, but she says she won't tell her dad. And we've seen her telling her dad on her wedding day. So I don't know how that's going to go over and how the dad is going to then receive Mitch, knowing that he only just found out that she was getting married. I think one of the reasons why she's not telling her dad in advance is the fact that she doesn't want him to sort of um, convince her to sort of not go through with the process. So I think she wants to tell him last minute. That way he has no choice but to walk her down the aisle because she wants him to walk her down the aisle. Um, we saw that Mitch's his mom and his sister-in-law and his brother were very happy for him. I think this is something they've wanted for him, but I don't know as well how his lifestyle. I think his lifestyle was going to be more problematic than Ben because Ben, appears to live comfortably and chooses not to do certain things. The same with Mitch, but I think Mitch is where he's frugal or where he's self-conscious of saving the environment. I think he's very living a very deprived lifestyle, and I don't know how Kristen is going to fit into that lifestyle. I know the experts could have matched them, because of their love of the ocean and saving the world and stuff, but I think their negatives are going to far outweigh the positives. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes, but I think it's going to be a roller coaster season. I think it's going to even out to season 14, which is surprising because every season we always think that it can't get any worse, and then somebody comes in and says, "Oh no, dear," and shows themselves out. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how the season goes. But I'm really on edge. I'm so sorry for the long review. It's just this episode was like 3 hours, and I really had to sit through it, and I'm so tired. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. See you next time. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye everyone.